Whew. Yes, yes, people. Beautiful day today in Barbados. My goodness, when it's hot here, it gets hot, and it's a nice kind of heat. I mean, it's relatively uncomfortable at points, but you know, as a man sits on Saturday night, to me, Barbados is kind of paradise of sorts in terms of just being able to sit out at night or in the daytime and see the sky so clearly, see the sun, see the moon, see stars at night, and live life, right? Well, I've just come off the phone with a certain Mr. Sandiford, who I'm going to be on Virge radio tonight with a young lady from Rock the Vote and Stephen Lashley, the MP for Family and Culture here in Barbados. So politics is going to be a discussion that I'm engaged in later on today, which is a very interesting subject, and it's an area that a lot of people would feel that I'm very outspoken on, or kind of that kind of animal when it comes to my art. Well, I'm a bit broader than that, but essentially politics rules the world in a number of ways, so I always think it's quite interesting to air a view about it, but a critical view rather than one that is just, I guess, the kind of standard, oh, I don't really care, I'm not one way or the other, or I'm a staunch right-wing thinker or a staunch left-wing thinker. So this poem has basically been something that I've been trying to get filmed for years, like the full thing, and we never could get it right. So hopefully today, now that I'm in my backyard and in a position where I'm going to have to speak about it later, it's as good a time as any to try and film it and leave it out there for you, because as much as I'm an individual that feels direct communication is the best form of communication, there are so many people out there who are of this opinion that, oh, you shouldn't say that, or you shouldn't say it that way, or you definitely shouldn't say it to him, that even tonight I've kind of got to that place where I'm like, okay, cool, if that's how all you want it, then why would you want an individual to like me to stand up and speak about things that clearly you are not willing to speak about when you get the opportunity to? I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day about becoming a martyr for white people rather than a martyr for black people, and he was really like, Virgil, you should write a poem about it. And I'm like, you know what? No. Because as much as I feel like certain times, you know, it would be better to be a martyr for them than to be for your own, because when you think about Marcus Garvey and backs against the wall, this is kind of the time that we're approaching in a place like Barbados, seemingly. There are lots of issues that have people really, literally raiding their piggy banks just to survive, and I guess as one of the ones who isn't in that situation directly, I should be, I guess, one of those people that should speak out more than the rest. Well, I tend to disagree with that. I'm saying if you're impoverished and you are in a political system that you feel uncomfortable with, or you feel is mistreating you, then you have a responsibility to yourself and to your family to speak up about things that essentially maybe those around you talk about but really aren't prepared to act upon, and don't expect others to do it for you, you know, because we're in a time where people have to stand up for themselves and be accountable. Politicians are referring to accountability a lot more than they have done in the past, because clearly they feel that they are being victimised in a lot of cases for things that they're not accountable for. But anyway, let's get to the poem, and let's leave this as the thing that I think people should recognise in terms of where I really stand on political movements and the individuals who run politics in the world today, because it's no longer a case of, oh, I'm going to be speaking about politics in Barbados, so that is completely disassociated to other parts of the world. That's ridiculous, completely. Because we know that most law is either Irish or English law. The Americanisation of Barbadian thinking still emanates from England. Get it clear. Ireland, if you want to be even clearer about it. And let me just make this point about the whole Barack Obama thing. People need to stop talking about this man like he doesn't have connections with white people, direct connections. Ireland is where he went when he came to the UK, had to have a pint of Guinness and speak about, this is where my family comes from, or at least the side of his family that seems to be more prevalent in terms of the kind of public aspect of his kind of persona. Yes, he has the lovely black wife and the children, but let's get it clear, right? We don't see his Kenyan father, and we certainly haven't seen him get on this whole kind of, yeah, I've got to go to Kenya, I've got to go to Africa tip. So, anyway, the reason for that kind of mini rant prior to this is, as I say, because now I'm going to speak about propaganda and lies, which I believe, in this day and age, are a very, very major part of our very, very kind of crazy modern day culture. Propaganda and lies. See? You know, it seems that through life, propaganda and lies are fed by those guys who wear corporate ties. So don't be surprised if your life seems contrived. The systemic rise of divisive styles has been long designed by those who reside in places with houses they're painted in white, or those numbered 10, where they and their friends keep feeding us lies again and again. See, it's all a pretense. Their calls for defence of the realm while they're at the helm is something the masses now needs to dispel, because it's quite clear they're just helping themselves. Propaganda sells, just like they talk smells. Oh, that's something that stinks. Something prepared in their public speech scripts, the type of lyrics I try not to enlist, because it's all about tricks to make the masses live in poverty so that their brains overload. No Old Kent Road or getting past go, well, what do you know? My lifestyle's so quick, while theirs seems so slow. Well, ignorance leads to you paying a toll. Government polls are clearly bankrolled. So what did you do with your power to vote? Fall for their lies? Well, I think you may find you jumped on the wrong ride, and now it would seem you are paying the price. Inflated gas hikes, no good schools for your child, or homework for them, and you wonder why we've now got these problems. Our leaders conceal and are not Holyfield, so are not the real deal, but feed propaganda with punch like Evander, while lyrics I'm writing keep biting, ow, like Tyson, which clearly is why most people get frightened by wordplay I use that proves that I'm shrewd. What I'm saying to you is to dissect the news, and government views don't let them confuse through rules that they use. Political coups are used as a ruse to keep you from seeing what really is true, man. Their complete disregard for public issues, those that affect me and those that affect you. If you turn 10 around, it just becomes net. Well, the trap's long been set to keep people down and wearing a frown unless you are wearing a wig and a gown. And clearly, of course, all these government clowns. So how does that sound? Am I lying to you? Or am I just trying to pass on some truth about propaganda and lies leaders use to give themselves powers through trust they abuse? See, the poverty gap is all part of their plan, huh? Immigrants this and immigrants that, their words divide masses and widens the gap. While they plan, rubbing hands. The communities that are filled with peace rely on unity, which in turn should then mean that they no longer need heavy-handed police. Now, capitalists are just New Age fascists. Or yes, you have guessed a New Age separatists. So who in the end benefits from all this? Please, think about this before parting your lips. If we hate each other because of our colour or because of pride that we should put aside, these people in power just sit back and smile. And keep passing laws that ensure that the poor stay right where they are. Are you with me so far? The rich just get richer and watch the rest wither because of the strain applied to our brains from riding on trains to bills we must pay just to maintain a life less restrained. Well, that's what they'll say. So let's check that, okay? Working longer days to earn higher pay so you can get a break like a nice holiday. But travel these days can now create pain. Terrorists, they complain, may be on your plane. So you now need a break after your holiday. It's all part of the game, folks, that's run by these snakes who clearly are fake. I think it's time, yeah, I really do, that we call time on those running our lives through their false diatribe, propaganda, and lies. Bless up, Barbados. Bless up the young people of Barbados. Think for yourselves. Think outside the box. Don't buy into everything that you hear or that you see on those little boxes that we've now become so accustomed to feeding our minds through. Get out into the world, travel, get beyond this little rock, and find out for yourself where you fit in the global scheme of things, because recognise this and recognise this loud and clear. We're in the year and the time of globalisation. And that, I'm afraid, is having quite an adverse effect on the mass populace of the human nation. Peace and blessings, I'm out of there, yeah?